Here's Chris Maher, host of FFM93 Live.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back here to FFM93 Live. We are here. We are back. A couple of things I wanted to mention before we get started. Just want to tweet this out real quick, and then we will get underway. There's been a couple of things that I've mentioned on social media and stuff about the podcast and essentially what I want to kind of do with it. As for this show and basically what I'm going to be doing, I'm trying to change the weekly time and the actual day. For those who used to listen to Florida podcast that I used to do with Amadeo Garcia from TTP Sports, I always butcher that. We always used to do it where it was like kind of like after the game, or kind of like whenever. And I always enjoyed that. I thought it was good. It felt like we had, people were engaged and things like that. And it was fun to do it that way. So I'm going to be trying to doing it differently where, maybe there's times where I do it kind of like this, right? Like a Sunday at noon or like something like that. Where we can kind of get some more people involved and be able to interact better. I don't always like having it like the set time because like the Friday at 3 wasn't really working. It wasn't just like numbers or anything like that. It was just in general. It wasn't really working for me either. So I'm excited to kind of start this new thing, and the calls are now live. I don't have to take voicemails. I know I mentioned that last podcast as well, but I'm going to continue to mention it. So there's 3 people in here right now. Or if anybody would like to call in, by all means, go ahead. I think for that as well, I added the text function because you can text the phone that I have. Again, I only have the one phone, so it's only one line. But you can text that or call in live, and we'll be talking some Flyers hockey for the foreseeable future here. So again, this is going to be fun. I'm real excited for this and kind of how we're going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing the hour time slot. I'm trying to see kind of how it plays out first. I don't think I'm going to, though. So again, it'll probably be around, maybe I'd say each week, probably 30, 45 minutes. We'll kind of talk about some things, kind of go into it, get some calls, things like that. And I think that way I'll probably be able to get more interactive with you guys too, which is kind of the whole point of the calls and everything. So I'm excited to kind of see how that works out. Now, unfortunately, the Flyers, they lost last night to the Carolina Hurricanes. And last night's game honestly wasn't horrible, in my eyes, at least. I thought there were some good things for the Flyers. I thought last night's game there was definitely a pushback, right? Because we've seen that before already. We've seen the Flyers been able to come back at times, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good I don't really know how to explain it, but I guess as of now, I think it's a good thing that they're able to come back in games. Obviously, you don't want to do that all the time, right? You want to be able to have a lead and kind of take it through the second and third period as it kind of goes on. Derek, what's up, brother? Thank you for tuning in. Always appreciate you coming in and talking hockey with you. I personally thought last night's game was one of the better games for the Flyers throughout the season. I thought it was pretty energetic. I thought outside of a rough first, you find yourself down 2-0 off a kind of a squeaky goal, and then a really nice play that Martinook scored on, and then you're sitting there, you're like, oh, here we go again. Is this kind of going to be like that play where their heads kind of tuck into their shells, kind of like a turtle, right? And as the game goes on, the Flyers didn't do that. They had a real good second period. They got a couple goals from the fourth line. Jeffrey, what's up, dude? Thank you for tuning in. He said, Jeffrey from Denver, which is well, have a good show. Is Sunday going to be the new day? Jeffrey, I don't think I'm going to be doing the set day anymore. I just mentioned it a couple minutes ago. I think I'm going to try to do some new stuff. I think I'm going to try to do some things where it's maybe after the game or, a preview of the game, kind of before the game, things like that. I'm going to try to switch it up each week, and I'm still going to be getting the guests and stuff. And again, like I mentioned earlier, the calls and the texts are live too. So Jeffrey or Derek or anybody else here tuning in, if you'd like to call in, by all means, go ahead. Again, I only have one line, so if you're the first caller, then it's most likely going to be that one that answers. But again, kind of going off what Derek said here, he said it was one of the better games to watch, quite honestly, including many of the games they've won. Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like there was a lot of good things in that in the game that were much better than usual. I thought their second period was really good. I honestly thought that was one of their better second periods of the year, especially because they scored, not just one, but 2 goals. Kind of took it to Carolina a bit. I felt like that there were some other better second periods. I know last year was such a tough year with second periods. And for the most part, you kind of want to see that change, right? And I think it has. I think the Flyers have been able to kind of develop that so far and have a pretty good second period. As the season started on, again, they've only played 8 games and they're 5-2-1. There's definitely been some improvements, though, I will say. I mean, I don't think it's I don't think it is. I kind of look at it like I don't really think it's anything that's been really too negative that's kind of been hurting them too much. It's just been more of the turnovers has been the killer thing. That's been a kind of a new thing. Obviously, they had turnovers last year and all that stuff, and you're going to have turnovers at every game. But they've just early in that first period last night, it was more of Carolina was swarming. They were kind of just all over them, and kind of as the game went on, I thought the Flyers did a better job of kind of handling the puck, and I felt like before the Nature's goal later in the third, it felt like Carolina didn't have really much high quality, at least, really crazy high quality. Before last night's game, I saw something that the Flyers, I think Carter Hart had like 46 saves out of 47 chances in like the high danger area. So essentially the slot and above, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's 7 games. 47 shots in 7 games from that area is pretty good. And I've said it before, they've defended the middle of the ice really well. We're getting a caller here. This one's actually from my dad. So let me answer this one. Dad, you are on the air.
Oh, what's up, son?
What's up, Dad? How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Go ahead.
Listen, they're 5-2-1. I didn't expect them. I thought for sure they might have, first 8 games, they'd be like 1-7, 1-6-1, something like that. So I'm pleasantly surprised. Okay. Real quick thing though, your thoughts on how they're playing Morgan Frost. Going to hang up and listen. All right. Peace.
Cool. All right. So Frost, I actually had this in my notes here. And I wanted to kind of to bring this up because, and this question comes in here from Carter H. He said, thoughts on young players so far. Frost has been okay. I think I would have seen him better with line mates, though. Tip looked better. I've seen him play yesterday. Cates went cold at center. Great defensively. That's kind of where I'm at. If you look at, okay, I'm just going to break this down because I was talking actually with Derek, who's in this right now. Derek from earlier, right here. Derek is a writer for the Liberty Line. He's really good stuff. Please check him out. I know he just started that, so check him out if you can. He does really good work. Cates in 8 games has 5 shots on goal. He has 1 goal, 1 point, and has a 20 shooting percentage, and he's still playing top 6. And look, I like Noah Cates. I really do like Noah Cates. I've always liked Noah Cates. I ever since the Flyers had him. I did an interview with him in quarantine. It was very nice when kind of COVID was going on. He's always been nice to me. I just feel like he hasn't done that much in the top 6 to at least keep that role. And Frost, you have him last night with, and this is going off my dad's question from the call. You have Frost who's playing third line with Bellows, who plays his first game after an optional practice, and just all it was skills with the skills coach Angelo Ricci. And you have him playing with McEwen. So we're getting another call here from Derek. So I want to get this one as well. Hey, Derek, you're on the air. What's up, brother?
Hey, I was trying this out. I wasn't sure what it was.
What's up, man?
I decided to call him out because I feel like, so we were talking about the Morgan Frost thing. You were talking about the Morgan Frost thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Morgan Frost thing, to me, is a symptom of a bigger issue.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about how Flyers are getting outchanced to tremendous degrees.
Mhm.
Their expected goal share could not possibly be worse if they were trying, and that's kind of what I mean.
Right.
There is so much more to get out of this roster.
Yeah.
And I know the roster ain't that good, but there's so much more to get out of it.
Right. No, I hear you. And that's kind of where I'm at too. It's like, you know, I feel like as of right now, right, there's been, I think there's like a mix of people where it's like, oh, well, they don't have enough talent, but ... And I've said this before. I mean, obviously we've talked and you've listened to the stuff. Like, I feel like they haven't been getting as much credit, but it's also like, I think there's more there. I really do. I mean, I was never really in the mix of, oh, this team's going to be a total Bedard team from the beginning. I was never like that. I never said it publicly. I always was kind of just like, oh, you know, I feel like they're going to be kind of a mix here and there. They'll win some games, they'll lose some games, but I had no expectations, and I still don't. I really don't. I'm trying to go into it with none. And I feel like as of now, when you have the team like this and the way that they're playing, right? They're 5-2-1. They've been playing well. There's been some things that I've been frustrated with, and I think the Frost thing is part of it because this is now the third coach under him. Arguably 4 if you want to put Lappy into that mix. So 4,
Yeah,
right?
seriously.
And you know, you kind of have all that, right? And how he's playing. And you know, I agree. I feel like there's more. I feel like Frost in general, I think there's some things he can be better at. Like in the dot, I think he's only like 40%, which that can improve. I agree with that.
I expect some of that to just be like regression.
Right.
Like,
right.
Eventually, he's going to get back to his career average.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And again, in those, I think 5 games in the preseason or whatever, however many games he played, I think it might have been 3 or 4. I'd have to go back and look. He was 60.3% in the draws. So there's been things he's done well. There's been things he hasn't. But dude, again, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. So that was Derek calling in. Yeah, again, Frost. I think there's been a lot of good things from Frost, and I've seen certain things that I've liked. What I don't understand is why he's not getting rewarded because he's getting scoring chances. Like I've never seen that before, where a player doesn't finish a scoring chance and then doesn't play after that. He had a couple chances against San Jose, and there's clearly a disconnect if Rocky Thompson is saying, we think he's been good in this area, this area, this area, and Torts is basically saying, I don't think he's done anything. That's practically what Torts said. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, what is the whole, what's going on here? Because you have this player, right? And I'm so high on him, and I talk about him a lot because I have never seen a talent like him. And I mentioned this in the game review last night. I have never seen a talent like Frost. I have never seen a guy that is so offensively gifted and twists and turns and moves in and out. Like, he has so much skill and so much talent. And like, I see it, and I feel like some people just choose not to because the whole Cates thing. And it's nothing against Cates. It has nothing to do with Cates at all. It's just so frustrating to me when you have a player like that, right? And you have so many of these different guys. And let's just add, right? And basically, if this doesn't go right, let's just say that right now, that this doesn't go right for the season for Morgan Frost and the Flyers, and say he moves on or he's traded or whatever, right? It's another failure. I mean, let's be honest. You can add it to Rubtsov. You can add it to LeBurge. You can add it to Isaac Ratcliffe. I mean, how many guys? I mean, I'm not going to go through the list because I'm probably going to, it's very frustrating to admit. But when you sit there and you look at it, there's been a lot of different things that they haven't done right with him. B-Ball Josh says, I love Frost. I do too. I think there's a lot of good things. Derek says, it feels like certain players get credit for forechecking while other players get credit for nothing except putting up goals. Exactly. And that's kind of where I'm at too. There's some things that Frost does well that I feel like nobody notices. And there's things that Noah Cates will do maybe like once or twice a game and everybody's like, oh my gosh. But my thing is this, if you have 5 shots, and I was talking about this with Bill Meltzer last night, and he kind of was breaking some of the numbers and everything down. So thank you to Bill for that too, because I was noticing it too, but I didn't have all the numbers. So that was more Bill. But I think me and Bill were talking about it for maybe 20 minutes last night. And the one thing that we were sitting there, we were listening to towards this press conference, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, okay, Torts says at the end of it, he doesn't want guys to he basically says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he says, I don't want guys to lose confidence off of making plays. That's basically what you're doing with Frost, because at this point, he's already at the point where he's going to need more confidence. He already missed a year because of the injury. And I have no problem with him challenging guys, but I don't understand why you're putting him with guys where you want him to. It's basically like last year where you put him with Mayhew and Willman, and then you at the first it was like, okay, let's just see how he does, kind of just get reps and everything else. Now it's, well, we want you to score while you're still playing with Mayhew and Willman, and they put him with Tippett and Cates. Everybody knows how good that line was towards the end of the year. It was fantastic, and they have gone back to it, I think, for a period. I don't even know if they've gone back to the full line. I think they've played. Frost has been with Tippett for a little bit, and he was with Cates for, I think, like a period, and that was it. And it wasn't even a regular season game. I think it was preseason. They've barely. I don't even remember it being in camp. They haven't touched it. Haven't touched it once. So that's and this is honestly reminding me of when AV put the line together of Lindblom, Couturier, and Konechny, and then we never saw it again after Lindblom was diagnosed with cancer when he was here. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with this. It's like, put him with a guy that's playing well in Tippett, or put him with someone who is trying to, or at least playing well. I feel like he could be in the top 6. Derek says the mix of passing / stick handling / skating / IQ is extremely rare. Single-digit number of guys like that in the league. I agree. I 100% agree. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of good things that he's done well. In general, and it's not even just the points or anything like that. I mean, he scored. Obviously the one was an empty netter, but there have been some good things that Frost has done too. It's not like he's just been in the mix. He's had chances. He just hasn't been able to bury them. But that's not a reason to sit a guy. I've never seen that before. Tristan says, Chris, what do you think about Lucas Sedlak? I like Sedlak. I mean, he looked really good last night, and I had no problem with that. I'm curious what they do with Legzinski now when he comes back, because Sedlak is playing so well. I mean, unless you're sending somebody down, but again, the team is winning essentially, and I mean, you lose last night, but I think everybody gets my point with that. So, dude, honestly, I've liked Sedlak. He's fast. He's quick on pucks. That play last night that he made on the Delorier goal, that was gorgeous. And it's such a good play because Allison, and that's another thing that frustrates me is Allison, right? He's playing 6 minutes. His actual time last night, I'm going to pull this up now because I'm curious. Allison, last night, he played 6 minutes and 14 seconds of ice time. The game before that against Florida, he played 5 minutes and 9 seconds. And he has a goal and an assist in the 6 minutes and 2 points, 3 shots on 12 shifts. And there were some good things and some wasn't. It's like, what do you want from these guys? And I get it, the turnovers, he was saying, like the lateral plays. It's like, I get it, but the whole play the kids thing, it doesn't seem like it's there. I don't see it. You keep Sealer in last night. I don't know how you don't keep Zamula in. I feel like Zamula's been one of the better defensemen so far. B-Ball Josh said Sedlak has wheels. I agree. Carter H said Sedlak has been really good. I think love his skating. I think Lazinski might get sent down. Hey, see, that could happen. And that's another guy that I've been kind of frustrated with too. I'm curious if they just send Frost down at this point, because it's like, I don't know if I don't think Torts is seeing what we're seeing, or is, I don't know. I don't want to say he's refusing to see it, because I don't think that, but I think it's frustrating because I don't really know what the actual reason is to what he's not seeing. Is it because he's not finishing? Is it because he's not being the player they want? I mean, I don't know how much more he can be the player they want. They've maybe said for him to be a defensive player that still has that kind of role. You know what I mean? Like that defensive player, but can still contribute offensively, which is essentially what Noah Cates is. And you're making Cates, you're basically making Frost Cates at this point. And you're honestly kind of making him like Lawton, which is unfortunate because he has so much skill. And I was talking about this the other day. I was listening to an interview a couple years ago with TJ Oshie. He was on Spit and Chicklets, and he basically talked about when he was in St. Louis that like there were things there towards the end of his career in St. Louis that led up to the trade for him to go to Washington for Troy Brouwer that were like, he basically wasn't really allowed to make many plays. And once he got to Washington, they basically were just like, do whatever you want, make plays offensively. And I don't think that's what it is with Frost, because he still does make plays offensively. It's just I don't think he's getting much of a chance. And when they're putting him with guys like Bellows, like I said, played first game, optional practice, that whole thing. And Zach McEwen, who I like a lot. Zach's a great guy, but Frost isn't going to do anything with a guy like McEwen. Jeffrey says, Chris, they should reinstate the line they were talking about. I agree. I think they should put that line back together at least at some point, but I don't know if they will. B-Ball Josh says, you can't play the kids and take out some Mool and not give Frost around opportunities and banish York before the season starts. Look, I don't even think York played that well. That's the other thing. It's like, I don't think York deserved that spot. And I'm fine with challenging guys. Maybe this is the way of challenging players like this. Maybe that's what it is. But I think what's the frustrating part of it is there's more there. There's more talent there. And as for Bellows last night in that game, I didn't think I wasn't too impressed. But again, he only played an optional practice, and I felt like he kind of just played it safe. And I feel like that's what some of these other guys are going to start doing, like Frost. Is he just going to start playing it safe? Because there were some plays last night where it looked like he was kind of playing it safe, but it also was like, he has that kind of skill at the same time. I kind of feel like Derek says the Flyers would drive Bernard and try to turn him into Scott. It's such a shame because I hate talking like that, but sometimes it's needed. Flyer Bob says, Atkinson, where are you? Atkinson's hurt. I don't think Atkinson is going to be playing much this season. You have a guy in Cam that I really like Atkinson. I do. And it's so unfortunate because I would have loved for him to have been with this team. And again, this team's 5-2-1 and is really hurt. I mean, Coots is going to be out, 3-4 months? We don't even know what's happening there. He got the surgery the other day. JVR with the broken finger, who was playing really well. You have that. You have Ellis. It's been really unfortunate. And thankfully, Konechny last night doesn't get hurt. Because, again, I thought that game was good for the Flyers. And, you have that game last night where you're playing well. and you found yourself down 2-0 and you're able to come back. I think that's a good thing for this club, is that they've faced adversity already and they've been able to come back from it. C-Max says Atkinson not playing this year, I guarantee it's intentional. I don't think it's intentional. I just think they don't want to risk anything. It's kind of, it's unfortunate because you're looking at this team and you're looking at what it could be, and they're still playing well even with all them guys hurt. So again, the Flyers lose last night 4-3 to Carolina in overtime. Tough way to lose, especially because you had the lead and it was a weird goal that ended up being scored by Natchez that tied it. And you're going into it at that point. You're like, all right, it's 3-2, and they score off like just a wicked wrist shot when three guys are on Natchez, and it was just onside like that. So it's unfortunate, but they do win on Thursday against Florida in a game where they really didn't play great, but they still won. They were heavily dominated in shot attempts, shots on goal. Florida had a lot of chances in tight on Carter Hart, who was great, made 48 saves on 51 shots on 104 shot attempts. So Hart was good. Konechny had a pretty good game. I was curious if they would do anything with maybe moving some of them younger guys up to kind of play with the older kind of guys, maybe see if they can kind of change that around. As for the week ahead for the Flyers, you have the Rangers Tuesday night. That's in New York. You have the Leafs on Wednesday. That's in Toronto at 7. So tough back-to-back, Rangers and Leafs. Leafs aren't playing great right now. That's a game I'm looking for the Flyers to go in and still win. Rangers too. I mean, they lost 4. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They did win yesterday against Dallas. They played tonight against Arizona, which is in Mullet Arena. They're one of the few teams that are in that unbelievable type of dressing room. Just great hospitality from the Coyotes. The Senators on Saturday for the Flyers on the road. So 3 road games coming up, and then Tuesday, November 8th, they're back home against the St. Louis Blues. And the Flyers will be wearing the reverse retro jersey that night for the first time this season. So tough couple games coming up. If you're looking at the standings right now, the Flyers are in first place. They are tied with Carolina. Same record, 5-2-1. One thing the Flyers have done well this year has been score. They got 24 goals this year in 8 games. That's by average, that's at least 3 a game. And they were shut out in the one against San Jose. So they have played well, and there have been some things that they've done well. And the power play, again, gets a goal last night. That's the 6th power play goal in the season. Flyers only scored 30 power play goals last year, and they already have 6 through 8 games. So I'm hoping that's a good sign, and they're able to score some more on the power play. Carter H says Frost looked good yesterday. I thought he was put in a poor situation. McEwen played hard minutes. I think Torch was alluding to that with his comments. By the way, he said it made it sound negative. That could be. It could be possible. For some reason, the phone that I have here was just updating. I don't know why. I looked over and it was randomly updating. So there we go. I feel like the game, again, it's kind of the same what I was kind of saying to Carter. I think Torts was kind of alluding to that as well. Derek says that power play would be humming with Frost instead of Hayes. LOL. I think it's kind of unfortunate because I like Hayes a lot, and I like him on that spot because he slows it down. But I agree. I really do. I'd like to see some of these younger guys kind of get put in that spot. And again, they've used Tippett in the flank. Connecting in the bumper has been a pleasant surprise. Been a lot of good things that's helped that area there as well. So again, they've done a good job of the power play has been really good at just moving the puck. And I'm actually, once they've been getting power plays now, I'm like, okay, we got a power play now. Let's get a goal here. And a lot of the times when they've been getting them, they've been scoring, and it would have been 7 goals on the year if the Farabee goal counted against San Jose, and that would have been his 3rd in 3 games. So again, overall, there's been a lot of good things that the power play has done, and I feel like in general there's been it's had good looks, and it almost scored again last night. They hit the crossbar on that point shot from D'Angelo. Like there's been a lot of good things. There's they're able to kind of move. I think the way that they've been able to move the puck, they've been quick. And when the penalty kill's been aggressive, and Carolina has a pretty good penalty kill. I mean, they were 1st in the league last year on the penalty kill. So it's not like the Canes are a bad penalty kill team or anything like that. Again, calls and text still live. Again, call 267-939-1216 if you want to join in on the conversation. But again, the power play, I feel like has been real good in the sense of kind of I kind of feel like the power play, right? If you're looking at it that way, and if you're trying to look at it from in the sense of, I guess, the way that they've been moving the puck, but also who's been on it. I've really liked D'Angelo on it. I think there's been a lot of good things. I'm going to pull up this question now if anybody wants to call in and answer it. What have you seen from the power play? I want to hear everybody's thoughts, because I feel like it's been pretty good. I think there's been some good things. Again, the question, what have you seen from the power play? It's call 267-939-1216. And again, I think there's been a lot of good things from the power play. I've liked D'Angelo, the element of him of getting those shots off quick and being able to kind of use that. They've done a great job at retrievals and moving the puck. I think there's been some good things from the power play, and just in the sense of they've had the double screen and they use that with JVR a little more. Now you have Lawton in front of the net. They have back-to-back games with power play goals. We're getting a call here from Tristan, so let me answer this one. Hey, buddy, you're on the air.
Oh, hi, Chris.
What's up, buddy?
So what do you think about the game yesterday?
It was a good game, dude. I thought there were some good things. Overall, you want to I feel like you want to keep that point. You get one, but you kind of give one up at the end there, so it's kind of unfortunate how it ended.
I mean, it was a tough game yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Well, what do you think about the power play right now?
Well, I mean, I honestly, I've liked a lot of kind of what it's been. What have you kind of seen from the power play?
I mean, I love D'Angelo, and actually, I love. Sadly, they scratched Zamola, who was one of their best defensemen. I do love Zamola on the power play, and Sealer.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I don't know if they'd use Sealer. I do like the aspect of Zamola. They had him on there a little bit, so I think that's a good point. I mean, I feel like for most of it so far, it's been more the first unit. They haven't been able to get much with the second unit, and the second unit's been a lot of 20, 30 second, 40 seconds left. And that's been about it. So, in general, I've liked a lot of what I've seen from the power play. But thanks, buddy, for calling in.
I mean, one thing about Sealer, it's been a lot with him. I mean, he's a great guy, but it's not like from last year when he got overused.
Right. Yeah. Buddy, I'm actually getting a call right now, so I'm gonna answer that one. Thanks for calling in. All right.
All right.
See you, buddy. Derek, you're back.
I'm back. Figured I'd talk a bit about the power play.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, first place to start, D'Angelo. I knew he was an elite power play quarterback, like in the league, exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think he would have the impact so far that he's had.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And part of it is because some guys have actually stepped up that I didn't expect to.
Mm-hmm.
Konechny has looked really good in bumper.
Yeah.
Pippett last night looked great on his half wall. I think the one thing the power play is missing, and this is why I've been championing the Frost on the power play movement, is one particular play, the pass from wall to wall.
Yeah.
The seam pass that goes from one half wall player to the other half wall player.
Yeah.
It adds another dimension of movement. All the good power plays have it. Just check the Rangers, Panarin to Zibanejad. It's their favorite play. And we don't have a Zibanejad.
Right.
Probably not. Maybe we do with Tippett. The closest thing we got to a Panarin, and I'm not calling him Panarin, but the closest thing we got to a Panarin is Morgan Frost.
I know. And that's kind of what we were talking about, right? I mean, it's the one element of their power play that they haven't been able to use yet, but they've kind of developed it into another play, and that's been D'Angelo load to Konechny in the bumper, down low to Tippett cutting in, and they scored on that last night, and they've had looks like that. So I think part of that is they haven't, well, one, Tippett was hurt, so you had Farabee on the other side, so really you could only use that seam pass like you're talking about as basically Farabee to Hayes if you're looking at it for a one-timer. And when the hell does Kevin Hayes shoot a one-timer? So there's that. You have
Kevin Hayes really make that seam pass either.
Right, exactly. Because again, he's slower, and I personally like the way he slows it down. So again, I think there's been some good things with the power play, and I just think in general they've moved the puck. I mean, I think the last night, the first power play they had in the first period, they didn't score on it. They were down 1-0. They moved the puck like it was nothing, man. They were moving it. They actually had a couple crossing passes. Tippett had a couple shots. They had the beautiful play. I can't remember who passed it to Tippett, but he slid it right down low to Lawton, and it just missed the post. So
I think it was Konechny, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think it was Konechny or D'Angelo. But again, it's looked good. I mean, they scored 6 goals. Only had 30 last year. They would have had 28 if the final game of the season they scored 2 goals, and they were both power play goals by GVR. So that's been it. And the one actually was between the legs, which was a gorgeous goal. But even still, Again, the power play's been real good. Derek, dude, thanks so much for calling in. Appreciate it again. And I'll talk to you soon, dude.
All right.
Cool. So again, the power play. If anybody else wants to touch on that and call in for the power play, again, 267-939-1216. Again, month of October review. Let's kind of get into that, because October was a pretty good month for the Flyers. They go 5-2-1. Torts, I know he said last night he wasn't really looking at it in the sense of months, right? He was kind of looking at it as more of days, weeks, games, all that kind of stuff. And I like that. I think that's a good thing. Don't get caught up in, how do we do this month? How do we do that month? I'd like to see some more less turnovers, and I think this is going to be a month for the Flyers with some real challenging games. Obviously, October was tough too, but they've proven that they can pretty much beat anybody. They were neck and neck with Carolina, should have won that game. That was essentially one of the first divisional opponents they've played. They've played 2 already. New Jersey on the home opener, which they beat, and they were neck and neck with Carolina for most of that game. So you have the Rangers again. That's another divisional opponent, and I talked about how important that is, and I did the video on that in the summer. I feel like in general the schedule it doesn't get much lighter. There are a couple, I don't want to say easier games, but the way the Flyers are playing, you have the Rangers coming up, like I talked about, Toronto, Ottawa, St. Louis. Then you have Columbus, who's really struggling right now, and that is on the 10th. You have Ottawa again. You have Dallas. You have Columbus again, Boston, Montreal, Calgary, Washington, Pitt, the Islanders twice, and that ends out the month of November. So not really the easiest month, but definitely some good things from this general month, right? You have some tests, and look, the Flyers are going to be the overmatched, or the Flyers are going to be the overmatched team, right? They're always going to be the team that's like, oh well, the Flyers are playing this team, and they're real good and this and that. They've beaten Florida probably didn't play their best game. They've beaten Tampa, which I thought was one of their better games. They've beaten Nashville. They were neck and neck with Carolina. They've had some good wins against Vancouver, who's been struggling, and that was very early in the year. I think in general, I think that the month's going to be tough. Really, the whole year is going to be tough. Let's be honest. But again, I've liked a lot of the things the Flyers have done so far. I think it's been good. Couple more here before we end it off. Boomer, we need Frost to play big minutes for 20 games and find out what we have. I think that's fair. I think he needs a fair shot though. I think he needs a fair shot to play those big minutes. Jeffrey, he says, couldn't they put Frost and D'Angelo together for a power play line? Yes, they could. They could do that on the first unit. If you want to move Hayes, they probably won't though, because again, the power play is working. So that's the other thing that's kind of unfortunate with it is you want Frost to be better, but it's unfortunate because you don't have if the power play was struggling, it would be easier to do it, but they're scoring. So that's kind of unfortunate. But again, we're going to wrap this one up here today. Again, thanks everybody so much for tuning in. Real good stuff with the calls. Thank you, Derek, Tristan, and my dad for calling in. Derek actually twice. So again, really do enjoy that. Thanks everybody in the chat. Boomer, Jeffrey, Jason, Carter, H, Flyer Bob, Tristan, Jason Melroy, C-Mac, Derek again, B-Ball Josh, everybody else. Let me see if there's anybody I missed. Don't think so. Howard Frank, yes. Which I meant to. I saw this earlier and I meant to bring it up. He said Selak may be the best forward right now. I wonder how long he sticks around. Probably for a bit. I don't know if they'll send him down. But Howard, thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate that as well. And again, thanks everybody so much. Always good talking with everyone. Again, thank you for everything. Really do appreciate it. Everything that's been kind of happening with the pod. I know I've made some changes and there's been some things too. But again, thanks everybody so much for sticking with me. And I will talk to you guys all again next week. We'll see how the Flyers do. And stay tuned for the game reviews and all that stuff. And thanks everybody. See ya. Bye.